Forsaken is due out in less than 3 weeks, and by the time you watch this, it could be much sooner. So much is changing that I wasn't really sure I wanted to make this kind of video because there is so much that we don't know, and I would hate to make a video where I say something completely wrong. But the recent combat reveal stream and last week's TWAB highlighted lots of information and answered tons of questions. So if you want to be as ready as possible for Forsaken, here are my pre-Forsaken recommendations. Guardians, what is going on, guys? Sly here, back at it once again with another pre-launch readiness guide for you all. My Warmind guide did quite well back in May, and I was absolutely delighted to hear how many of you it helped. I will also have a leveling guide for Forsaken coming out as well, but I need much more information before I can start to suggest anything. But for right now, there are some critical things that you could be doing in order to get ready for September 4th. Once again, this is simply a guide for those that actually care about this sort of thing. The levels are bumping up to character level 50 and power level of 600, but this time we don't know the soft caps or how drops are going to work like we did with Warmind. Leveling will take weeks, if not months, to get all of your characters up to max. But if you're like me and you really only care about one character getting raid ready as fast as possible, then this guide is meant for you. So first up, a small side note, there are a few guns that might be disappearing from the loot pool. All of the ones I've heard about come from the link down below, as well as a few Reddit posts, so check them out if you wish. We have Uriel's Gift Assault Rifle, the old-fashioned hand cannon, Antiope D kinetic SMG, which is still good and will still be beast in Forsaken. Then there's Curtain Call Rocket Launcher, which is good but nothing you can't live without if you have sins of the past. Then Mananan SR4, an excellent energy scout rifle by Omalon. And then the gun that basically got me through the entire D2 campaign, as well as the Leviathan, Nameless Midnight. Mananan, Uriel's, Antiope, and the Old Fashioned are all gunsmith weapons, and from what we know, the gunsmith is getting a complete refresh of inventory, and they will be gone in year 2. However, Nameless Midnight and Curtain Call are from the Vanguard, so it's not 100% known if any of these will remain in the loot pool. So far, we only suspect that they will not. There are a few others, however, like the Kibu or the Energy Pulse Rifle from Anna Bray. Those are also guns of note that might not be there. But again, we're not 100% sure. As long as you've had it dropped once after May 8th, or if you've had it in your vault from that time, then you're in the clear and you can get them back from collections without random rolls on it. If not, then you have until August 28th to try to find them. So if you want these for sure, then try to get them now. However, if you are low on gunsmith parts, then I really would not worry about it because those gunsmith parts will be a valuable source of loot within Forsaken, so try to save them. Also, there will be plenty of new frontrunner weapons in Forsaken as well, so while these guns may be good right now, more than likely they won't be as good going forward, and I'll explain why here in a few. Okay guys, so first up, Bungie has said that rewards will always drop at your current average level or above, never below, no matter what you plan on doing. So with that, early on in the game, you can expect rank up packages to be a great way to not only see new loot with random rolls on it, but to help boost your overall power level as well. Also, keep in mind that planetary materials will be replacing tokens as a way to rank up the planet vendors. However, tokens can still be used in Forsaken in all of year 2, just don't expect them to drop anymore. So start collecting planetary materials and tokens from the next few weeks of flashpoints and patrols, or if you're bored, just go collect some while doing patrols and looting chests and VIP targets. Buying Cade's chests, the hidden chests, they drop lots of tokens for that specific planet, which of course is the flashpoint. That will also help you out. So far in pre-Forsaken Destiny, we have Dusklight shards on Earth, Phase Glass Needles on Io, Seraphite on Mars, Simulation Seeds on Mercury, Data Lettuce on Nessus, well actually Data Lattice, and then on Titan we have Alkane Dust. The blue or rare versions of these will also be retiring, and only the greens will be left available. Also, PMATs, planetary materials, destination materials, whatever you wish to call these things, they are going back to the ways of old, where they will once again be used as a type of upgrade material or currency. Now back in the early days of Destiny 1, like pre-Dark Below, you had to have a decent amount of all the PMATs in your inventory in order to upgrade your raid gear and weapons. Without it, you were stuck. Expect this to happen more often because it's now going to cost planetary materials to infuse and upgrade your gear. weapons, and armor. Now, Bungie simply said different destination materials, quote unquote. I would suspect most of the endgame gear to be stuff that comes from the Dreaming City or the Tangled Shore, but it wouldn't hurt to have a modest amount of PMATs from all the planets. You know, EDZ, Data Lettuce, Nessus. You never know when you're going to be grinding for hours on end to finally get that awesome piece of gear. Then it is terribly frustrating that you have to go out on patrol at like whatever time it is just to find 2 planetary materials so you can finish upgrading it or infusing it. So stock up while you can, and if it happens to be that the new gear doesn't use the older destination materials, then you can turn them in for reputation, which will drop you higher power gear, and certain planets will also have great weapons, with random rolls mind you. So having a variety of different PMAT stacks is an excellent idea going forward. So from here on out, guys, start collecting planetary materials everywhere, no matter the type, no matter the planet. If you see them, grab them and keep grabbing them. I promise you it will not go to waste. Next suggestion, except for a few weapons, don't really worry too much more about year 1 stuff. Most of it is going to be obsolete within the next few weeks. With the return of random rolls, we are also seeing a second perk slot on all weapons, and armor is being completely reworked with multiple perks on them. That's without turning it into a masterwork item or adding more perks with the new mod system. So year 1 weapons will still be usable, still be okay. You know, they'll suffer from 1 less perk on them, but armor, however, armor will be completely useless except for nostalgia only. So for an example, take a look on screen. You'll see our current Warmind armor and then compare it to Forsaken armor. We have nothing with 0 perks on them and then full of helpful attributes on the other. That's just 1 piece, mind you. So if you're using year 1 armor, you could potentially be missing out on 10 additional perks, 15 extra benefits in total if you count mods. So that is huge, guys. There is 0 reason to be using year 1 armor in Forsaken, like I said, except for nostalgic purposes. But that's also besides exotics, of course. So if there are certain things you want to complete, like grinding Iron Banner for armor ornaments, your time would be better spent looking for planetary materials, tokens, etc. Year 1 weapons will kind of be in the same boat. Forsaken will have 2 perks on them, now we just have 1, but weapons are relative to the user. You can have the most OP perks possible, but if it doesn't feel good to use, then you won't do well with it versus a weapon with no perks, but you can stick headshots with every bullet. So guns like Uriel's Gift, if you don't have it, then I would recommend grabbing it, as well as Antiope D, because it's a great weapon, as are a few others. But again, there will be plenty of awesome things to get in Forsaken, so don't really worry too much about year 1 stuff. However, the weapons that you do want to keep or are currently in your vault, make sure you set them to your liking before August 28th. Since the mod system is changing, where we will not be able to switch out elements on a weapon, those will now drop through random rolls. Elements will be one of those rolls, so with that, make sure you have 1 of each element on your favorite weapons, if you so wish to do so, or at least put it to the element that you want. For instance, my Uriel's Gift will always be Void, while my Sins of the Past I want Solar. However, I switched it up last week to Void because of the Prestige raid and its modifier, so make sure you put everything back to the way you want it, because it will be locked that way forever on August 28th. The only ones you cannot control are the weapons switching over to kinetic like Perfect Paradox, and a couple of Escalation Protocol weapons, the Sniper and Shotgun, will be locked to Solar, period. This is of course to stop the stacking with Tractor Cannon. Melting Point stacked with Tractor Cannon and a Void EP Shotgun that has Trench Barrel procced is the most ridiculous thing you will ever see. Add a few Nova Bombs into the mix and it is quite amazing, so that is definitely going away. Next up, let's talk about XP boost and stacking. Something I hope a lot of you took to heart in my Warmind video was the benefit of stacking XP boosts. Since we are going to have to level all the way up to 50, having XP buffs active will go a very long way in the first couple of days. So make sure you have a stack of Fire Team medallions in your inventory, and if you have the XP buffs from the Pop-Tarts promotion at the beginning of D2, now's a good time to use them. I see Forsaken as the optimal time to use it. Not sure if you can still find old boxes and still claim them, but they give you a 25% XP boost for 4 hours. I still have a few in my inventory from when D2 launched back in the day. If you do as well, like I said, I think Forsaken is going to be one of the best times to use it. Also, Ghost Chills. Now I forget myself, but I try to have a 10% bonus XP ghost for every destination on all my characters if at all possible. Like I said, I try to have one for every destination, but RNG doesn't always let me work it out like that. These rolls are random, so you never know which one you're going to get, but strikes will no doubt be a big part in Forsaken. and strikes are going to go back to the way they used to be, separate from story missions, not simply story missions turned into harder versions of themselves, something I am also excited for. So if you have a Fire Team Medallion on with a ghost for a particular destination, and for the first day perhaps even the XP boost, then that's an additional 45% XP, assuming the Pop-Tarts boosts are still 25% like they used to be. Then once you have completed Strikes or Crucible, swap out your ghost for the area you're going to go to next. Now of course you won't have Tangled Shore right off the bat, but if Forsaken is anything like the Taken King, then it will revamp the entire game, and I suspect missions, quests, adventures, they're going to be taking us everywhere. So once you complete a campaign mission, or say kill a Baron and you get however many thousands XP, even if you only have an extra 20% boost, over a course of an entire day of missions, quests, killing bad dudes, that is a huge amount of free XP. And you'll notice it because you're going to be rocketing ahead of your friends. So even though it's hard, the first couple of days or even the first entire week, always be thinking of how you can start gaining bonus XP. If you have a Strike Ghost, use it during strikes. If you have an EDZ Ghost and you're doing a mission that takes you back there, make sure you put it on. Always have a Fire Team Medallion active on your character every time you play for the first couple of weeks. Also, always complete your bounties and turn them in while you have a Fire Team Medallion on and your ghost is procced for the extra 10%. Notice that when you're not on a destination, the perk on the ghost is not highlighted white, but then when you get to the area it turns white, showing you that it is active. That is the best time to turn in all of your bounties. Bounties will play a much larger role in Forsaken, and more vendors will also have them. There will also be secret bounties that drop from vendors and from out in the wild as well. So the more you complete, the better your chances of being one of the first to get one of the rare exotics. So every day you're out there, make sure to go around and pick up your bounties from every vendor possible. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I wanted to try and engrave it into your brain now so you will remember when the time comes. I'll also go over them in detail when I release my power leveling guide in Forsaken, and just in case you were wondering if bounties still give you XP, even though they don't say it as a reward, they do indeed, as you can see here, and it's a rather decent increase. So extra XP for doing something you're already going to be doing anyway, it's a no-brainer here, guys. Now XP and the ability to stack them has changed many times over in the course of Destiny. At one time you could not stack Fire Team Medallions and Ghost XP boosts, but then I read somewhere else that when we found out XP was being throttled by Bungie, it all went back to doing what it was originally said it was going to do. Now I would go out and test all of these different scenarios out, but I only have a few XP boosts left, and I wish to save them for September myself. Either way, guys, it is worth a small amount of effort just to put something on, and it worked during Warmind, so unless they change it yet again, it will work in Forsaken. So I say stack every boost possible whenever possible. Your ability to use the new loot will be directly dependent on your character level. You won't even be able to use new weapons and armor until you've ranked up a few levels. So the higher your character level, the more you will be able to use the new loot. Also, the well-rested bonus that gives you 3 times the XP at the beginning of the week is something that is only tied to endgame content. Just like Bright Engrams or Prototype Engrams, those do not start dropping until you have reached the max character level, which in Forsaken will be 50. Next, let's talk about the Gunsmith or Gunny. So as we know, the Gunsmith takes 40 parts to retrieve a rank up reward. Well, in Forsaken, that number is changing all the way up to 100, so it will take a lot more than you're used to. The Gunsmith will be a fantastic way to get new Forsaken gear and a small additional way to help you rank up. So if you're chasing year 1 guns like Mananan, Uriel's Gift, Antiope D, only do so if you have the Gunsmith parts to spare. If you have anything less than 2,000, I would save the rest, guys. There will be lots of leveling and lots of guns that need infusion material later down the road. And since we don't really know how the economy is going to work concerning blues, legendaries, all that stuff, especially when we reach the end game, having a way to keep rank up packages is a great backup plan. Next, start going through your vault and clean up. Any doubles, get them out of here. You're trying to get as many Gunsmith parts as possible. Weird year 1 weapons you kept but never used, let them go. Because first off, you're going to be able to use collections to get them back, and not only will they be outgunned by the new Forsaken weapons, they're immediately going to be outclassed by having 1 less perk on them. Of course, we're also getting 200 more slots on August 28th, but clean up your vault, especially all the armor, and start saving more Gunsmith parts. Now, while we're still talking about Gunny, let's go over mods 2.0. So all of the mods in your inventory or vault, even on your armor pieces, all of them will be deleted when Forsaken arrives. You will be given mod components in return, and then you're going to have to go to the gunsmith to buy new ones. Now, Bungie has been quoted saying that good mods will be more expensive and harder to come by. Also, I don't think the reveal stream showed off all of the year 2 mods that we're going to be able to get. I think there will be many, many more, perhaps even exotic mods. Now, that's just a feeling of mine. It's not backed up by information or a leak or anything. That's just my speculation. But there has to be more than just that small list of 9 or 10 mods. So if mods are becoming more expensive, that means they will also require more mod components. So how long have you been sitting on 100k Glimmer? Let's start using it. Start by going to the gunsmith and use up to like 75,000 Glimmer on buying blue mods. Once you get 3 blues, turn it into a legendary and then dismantle them for mod components. Basically, what you're doing here, guys, is simply farming mod components. As you can see, my ass is Glimmer poor, so I've already started doing it a couple weeks ago. I'm willing to bet that the gunsmith will be hiding a few awesome mods as well, and RNG isn't always friendly. So to get the one you want, you will probably have to buy quite a lot before it ends up dropping. And that, my friends, is going to cost you. Now, I'm not saying you should start modding all of your weapons day 1 Forsaken. Actually, the opposite, in fact. You shouldn't really infuse or mod anything until you've hit a level cap or you're somewhat, kind of steadying out. However, there are a few weapons that you know instantly you're going to be using all the way throughout the DLC. Certain items like cloaks, they also fit into this category. So while you don't really want to mod anything until you hit a semi-stable area where your level doesn't change every hour, there are a few exceptions, and mods do stay on for the duration of leveling up. So if you find a weapon early on that just feels great and it's worth infusing every 30 minutes to match your level, then go ahead and go for it. But having a stack of mod components ready is going to come in handy big time, because some of these mods really upgrade your weapon substantially. And since we don't know how expensive really is, like is it medium expensive, is it really expensive, is it cheap, then having a pile of components as backup will also go a very long way, especially if you plan on chasing a few rare ones. So basically, guys, stop modding year 1 stuff, period. Unless it's your Solstice armor or weapons you're changing over to help you within the new prestige raids and those wacky modifiers, then of course that's acceptable. Everything else, you're just wasting resources. Use your huge pile of Glimmer that always stays stacked at 100k and start buying blue mods. Not the random legendary ones, because they actually take away mod components. You just want to spam the button until you have like, 20k Glimmer left or so. This way you can still infuse or buy other stuff if you wish to do so. Then convert all of those blues into legendary, break them down. By the end of the day, you probably already have like 100k in Glimmer again. So just keep doing it over and over, and keep doing it until Forsaken drops. And that will leave you with a big cushion of mod components. When things start to settle down and you're not changing level or power every 15 minutes, you can then take your time buying everything that you wish and setting your loadouts as you see fit. Alright, Guardian, so the last major thing to talk about: do not stop doing your milestones and start doing Prestige Leviathan. There are reasons behind this, and it simply boils down to masterwork cores. Masterworking items in year 2 will not only be more powerful, but extremely different and way more expensive. Powerful engrams and prestige raid drops give you the most amount of masterworked items, especially Prestige Leviathan. I mean, every drop is pretty much a masterwork in Prestige Leviathan, so always do your challenge as well. Break down all of those extras and start stacking up on masterwork cores as much as possible. In Forsaken, there are 10 levels when masterworking a weapon. We're not quite sure about armor yet, but by the time it's all said and done, you're going to get to plus 10 in a certain stat, whereas in Warmind we only get plus 5. However, we have to ascend all of those levels. So we're going to start out with plus 1, then rank it up again to plus 2, then rank it up again to plus 3, etc. Each time we ascend a level, it's going to cost us. By the time it's all said and done and you get to plus 10, you're going to spend 10,000 Glimmer, 27 legendary shards, and 17 masterwork cores for one item. So now think about masterworking all of your favorite weapons coming up, and that's going to be very expensive. So start piling up masterwork cores as much as possible. They're kind of a hard thing to farm for, so like I said, just make sure you do all your milestones and prestige raids. Those are the best places to get them. Alright guys, so next up, let's do a quick recap and go over the things that you should be doing right now. So number 1, make sure you have a nice pile of Fire Team medallions ready. You never know, they could disappear next season. So having a stack of them now is always preferable than relying on the hope it'll be there next season. Number 2, start collecting planetary materials or PMATs. Now, I'm not saying go out and farm them like crazy for hours on end. Just start being more aware of them and collect them when you can. Once again, ghosts have perks on them that will help you find them. Speaking of ghosts, number 3, try to acquire ghosts with 10% XP for multiple destinations. EDZ, Crucible, Strikes, Mars, Nessus, as many places as possible. And in the beginning hours of Forsaken, if you can get a Tangled Shore Ghost to drop, that would be perfect. More than likely, you already have quite a few of them all over the place if you just never really actually looked for them. So start separating them out, that way you know where they are come September 4th. Moving on to number 4, start farming mod components. Once again, only buy the blue, and once you get a ton of them, convert them into legendary, break them down, repeat. Number 5, tokens. Cade's chests are a great way to get tokens, and even though Forsaken is taking away tokens, you can still turn them in to the respective vendors throughout year 2. With the new weapon changes, more than likely NPCs will change a bit as well, and they could have brand new armor and weapons to grab. Having stacks of tokens will be helpful because they will up your power however small, and if they are selling an awesome weapon, it might take a lot of tokens before that perfect roll pops out. Moving on to number 6, clean up your vault, lock your elements, and finally number 7, make sure you keep doing your milestones and Prestige Leviathan and start stacking up on Masterwork cores. But that is about it, Guardians. Those are my recommendations on how to be ready for September 4th. When I think of what I want Destiny to become, the Dreamin' City is exactly what I want from this game, guys. Puzzles everywhere, hidden areas, one of the biggest raids to date, and a Nessus-sized area reserved only for the endgame. I mean, that's what I want from Destiny, and man, am I excited for it. That's not even mentioning Gambit, the campaign, the Tangled Shore, which is also huge, so good things await us, Guardians, and I hope that this video helps you out when the time comes. But that is it for me, y'all. As always, thank you so much for watching and for supporting Sly Nation. Feel free to check me out on Twitter or Facebook at Sly Nation or Sly Nation Gaming on the FB. Subscribe for tons more Forsaken and Anthem videos. Spank the thumbs up only if you enjoyed yourselves. And comment down below if you have any questions, want to put out any more tips, or if you just want to say what's up. Later, guys, and keep those eyes open for more vids coming out soon. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch you all next time.